Voiceover, the business where we only use our voice. Right? Wrong. Well, sort of. Yes and no. I'm just here to talk to you about adding some physicality to your performances because it's gonna help you a lot, especially beginners. If you are an experienced voice actor, you obviously know all this already, but beginners likely don't. And the reason I know this is because when I was a beginner, this was news to me. So voiceover, not just voice, even though it kind of says that in the title of this industry. Voiceover, voice acting, it's not just voice. Because even though you are behind a microphone, you can still add physicality to your performances. And in fact, you should, because it's going to give you another dimension, which you wouldn't get if you are only using your voice. So very often beginners, when they first get started in voiceover, they don't know about physicality because it's not really, I mean, you're so focused on like being here on the axis of this microphone and just, you're so focused on your voice and what you're sounding, especially as a beginner, that you're not really, or maybe I should say, you may not be thinking about how you could add movement. Even if you're doing this sitting down, which this is how I do it. It's kind of a limitation, like, yes, if you could stand up, that would be great. But sometimes we just don't have the space for it. I don't have the space for it right now, so I've gotten used to doing this like that. Let's pretend you have a scene, and I'm going to give you an example of a scene that I did a really long time ago now. This is the scene from Tima. Tima is a shortened term for the machine in her. The machine in her is a Fallout 4 mod. And in there I had a character called Kit. Kit is a child assassin, basically. And I'm not gonna get into her story here, just for the sake of like keeping this video on point. But basically, a child assassin has no problem using guns. She basically was trained to use guns from a very early age. And I'm gonna show you the example of using physicality for the scene where you first meet Kit. So behold, I have here something very interesting. Which is this? Yes, it's dripping. It's a water pistol. And if you have seen, I'm gonna insert that scene into this video, so if you haven't seen it, so you will see it. But if you've seen that scene, you know how it starts, right? And we're gonna redo a few lines from that scene, if I can remember them. Just to show you the way that I did it. So in that scene, the player discovers Kit's hideout, basically, and they're kind of, like, Kit is not there at the start of the scene. She's nowhere to be found, and you're just there at the start as a player, just, like, looking through, like, what's there. You've never been there before. You don't know where you are, so you're just looking at the stuff that's there. She's kind of made a home of the whole place for herself. And so you, as the player, are looking through her things. And Kit's introduction is that she approaches you from behind, and she's already aiming the gun at you, at the player. So, as a voice actor, how might you approach that? I could be here, and I could just go through that scene, just saying my lines. Like, just on the microphone, and it would be fine. I wouldn't really need to add physicality, but I think it makes it better. And I'm gonna try to remember what I said in 2018 in the scene. The game is interactive, so the player can, like, respond to her. And so it's gonna feel like I'm talking to no one, because you kind of are talking to no one if you're recording something like this. But just bear with me and remember that there's somebody there that I'm talking to. So, the start of this scene. Normally I would have this microphone closer to me. And I would also have it upside down, because you don't have to have the microphone upside down, by the way. A lot of people do, because it's just easier to move around. It doesn't do anything to the sound. And I'm a poet and I don't know it. Anyway, so I'm aiming the gun right in front of me. And I'm literally gonna, get real up close here, because this is kind of an intense moment. And as I'm aiming the gun, I would say the lines. And then the player gets into dialogue with me, but I'm still holding this gun right here, just like she is in the scene. You're gonna want to turn around very, very slowly. Wouldn't matter if you were. Because I'm aiming a gun at your face. Why do you think? You're gonna want to turn around very, very slowly. Wouldn't matter if you were. Here's what happens next. You keep your hands where I can see them, turn and face the exit, and then leave the way you came in. Nicely, slowly. Because I'm aiming a gun at your face. Why do you think? Okay. I don't know if you can see that. By the way, it actually works. It really works. So this is one example of how you can use real objects just to make the scene better and more believable, and for yourself as well, to really feel like you are there. By the way, to anyone who is watching this who actually knows Tima and knows me from there, you guys are the real OGs. Like, I don't care what else happens in my career. Like, if I were ever to do some sort of character that was like a big deal or something, and people were freaking out about it, I would still be like, nah, Kit is the real OG, and Tima fans are the real OGs. So remember that. Another example. I'm just gonna read you a very small passage of a parody book. This book is called The New Moon, the Twilight Saga. This is a Twilight parody. It's one of my all-time favorite books, because I think this is just peak entertainment, personally. And you should really check this out if you haven't, and you want to read some Twilight parodies, which this is spot on for Twilight. Anyway, getting besides the point here. So in this passage there are 3 characters, and obviously this is a parody, so the names are made up, but basically who they are, it would be Bella, her dad, and I can't remember whatever was the name of Edward's dad. Anyway, that guy are in the scene. What has happened in this scene is that Bella has, I think she has like a black eye or something from something that happened before. In this book, Edward's dad is like the owner of a meat shop. So, and then Bella and her dad go to Edward's dad to his meat shop to get a piece of meat for the black eye that she has, so she can like put it on her black eye and like treat it or something. Yes, it's very weird, but it gives a very good example of using physicality. So without further ado, so this is right when Edward's dad has given them the the piece of meat. And then Bella's dad goes, "Now, Heffa." And yes, by the way, Heffa is clearly a mix of Bella and Buffy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so yes, that's the main character of this book, is Heffa. Okay, so that's her dad. "Now, Heffa, Joseph," Edward's dad, "could be butchering animals anywhere in the US. We're very grateful that he brought his expertise and large collection of boning knives to our small town. Be more polite." And Joseph, Edward's dad, answers, "It's all right," Joseph said, absent-mindedly reaching for a spare steak after handing Chump, Bella's dad, the parcel. He started to chew on it, saying round his mouthful, "I'm sure Heffa's just had a long day of specialness and poorly coded sexual friction. She must be tired." If you were to do this as an audition, there would be just Joseph's lines. But a lot of auditions out there that are kind of more, maybe I should say advanced, they will have actions happening in them. And as a beginner, it would help you a lot. I mean, this would help anyone a lot. Just to pay attention to the actions happening, because this scene changes midway through. Your sound is supposed to change midway through, because let's go over this again. "It's all right," Joseph said. Everything's normal, right? Absent-mindedly reaching for a spare steak after handing Chump the parcel. He started to chew on it, saying round his mouthful. Saying round his mouthful. So now the scene has changed, right? Now you can't just be speaking how you would normally be speaking, whatever you were doing for this character. Now you have to take into account that the scene has changed. Because he's eating something now. So this has to be part of your sound. And would I recommend that you actually be eating something? Maybe not. Because if you're actually eating something, it's going to introduce a lot of mouth noise into the microphone, and you're going to have an awful time trying to get rid of it. And you probably can't. Like, you would have to re-record the whole thing, and then it was basically pointless. So you're going to have to pretend that you're eating something. Or I don't know, maybe you can put something between your teeth and like try to talk through it. That could work. But you also could just pretend that you have something in your mouth and do your best to make it sound like you are actually eating something. So how might we do this scene? Okay, and this is my version of Joseph Kelledy, as he is called in this book. I'm not going for what the actor who was actually playing Edward's dad sounded like. I'm just gonna do my Joseph Kelledy. So here we go. "Be more polite," said Heffa's dad. "It's all right. I'm sure Heffa's just had a long day of specialness and poorly coded sexual friction. She must be tired." Okay, now, I don't know if that's any good or not, but that's not really the point. The point I'm trying to illustrate is that there's supposed to be a change in the sound, because he started to eat something. And one last example, basically the scene was that I had my character, they were waking up from some sort of, I don't know, head trauma or something, and they discover that their arm has been I don't remember exactly, somebody had attached a robot arm, cut their arm off and put a robot arm instead of their arm. And so my character is just waking up and being like, what the heck? What the hell happened to my arm? And so here too, this is a very small thing. Sometimes these actions are not big at all. But if you're paying attention, then you can do some interesting things with the sound, I think. It might be very subtle, but if you were to like close your eyes, so close your eyes. I'm waiting, close your eyes. Well, since you insist on not closing your eyes and looking at me, there you go, you're in space now. Welcome. So, but like if you were to just listen to the scene, it sounds a little bit different. So this is right on axis, speaking right into the microphone. What did you do to my arm? And this would be if I added some physicality to it. What did you do to my arm? Hello. Welcome back from space. Anyway, I hope you can hear some difference in there. Or like, let's just say for another small example, you have a scene, the character is like putting on, like they're like putting on their boots or something in the scene as they're talking. So I mean, you could just again be here right on axis and be talking whatever you're talking, just pretend that this is all part of that scene. So I'm just talking about whatever, right on this microphone axis. However, if I were to pay more attention to what the script is saying, which is saying that they are putting on their boots, then it would be like, now I'm just like talking. I'm still on axis, but I'm not really on axis. And I'm actually kind of doing this movement. Like I'm actually putting on my boots. And there we go, I put on my boots. It's gonna win you auditions because a lot of beginners are not doing those things at all. So if you do them, then the creator is likely going to go, hey, this person's doing something different. That's interesting. That's pretty cool. And you're gonna stand out. Also, like if your character was like on a battlefield or something, you should take that into account as well. So don't just be right here talking normally when we're on a battlefield. We have to be talking over here because you can't hear me. You know? And this is also just going to show the creator of the project that, hey, this person is paying attention. They care about the details of my thing here. And that battlefield example wasn't very good, but I think you understand what I mean, right? Just look for ways that you could add physicality to the scenes. And so, yeah, I really hope that this helped. If you're going to go and do an audition now, and you're planning on adding some physicality, hey, feel free to let me know how this goes for you. And I hope you get it. That's it from me. All right. Bye.